What that results in is a huge social split. Huge. Because now you got this group of people saying, no, we need to continue doing it this way because that keeps the sacredness of the whole transaction. You got this group saying, what, are you blind? What, are you stupid? Metal pots and pans last longer. These blankets last as long as a fur, and it's easier to get to. And God will always make more animals. What happened was, within a matter of, and I'm going to say 5 years, but I think I'm really adding a lot of extra time. It wasn't okay. They killed the buffalo, they killed the deer, they killed the bears, killed them all to get those things from the government trading posts. This rift became serious. It became really bad, and now, for the first time ever, the Red Fire said, we're not helping you anymore. You are on your own. You want to become like them? Fine. You do that. You have that right. And so the Red Fire moved to the west, to what is now eastern Oklahoma and western Arkansas. That was the westward bounds of the Cherokee hunting grounds, Cherokee territory. And 70% of the tribe moved west. That's a big bunch. That's a huge number. So that leaves what? 70, 80, 90, 100. There's 30% now left in the old country. Virginia, what little bit there is left there, North Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, northern Georgia, northern Florida. That area. 30% of the tribe is all that remains of it. And they go President Jefferson, because these guys, they're not going to do this no more. Because 70% of the tribe is left. So you know what, screw you, you're on your own. So they make themselves a constitution and elect themselves a president. Principal chief, he's called in the paperwork, but it was the president. They do the U.S. Constitution thing, which was easy enough because they're the ones, along with the Iroquois, that advised Jefferson and all those guys on how to write a constitution. So it wasn't hard for them to do. They just took it a step out of democracy, step back into a republic. Okay, you really have no say. If you want to say anything, elect somebody to represent you. You don't get to speak anymore. So that's what that went down to. And they tell Jefferson, look, most of our people went west. They obviously want to have nothing to do with you. Let us become Americans. Take away their tribal status, make us the only real Cherokees, and let us become Americans. Jefferson, being the great liberal thinker that he is like, fuck you, that ain't never going to happen. However, moving west is a great idea. So he hung on to that part, told them they couldn't do it, and then we all know that story, the whole Trail of Tears thing, and we know that story till it's old. They even teach it in school. But here's the problem. After the Trail of Tears, when they moved this group to the Indian Territory, this group was already here, and this group is the Red Fire. And it's still the Red Fire because at the end of that war, these people refused to take part in any of the rituals and ceremonies to put that away, to turn the warriors back into citizens. And so, in this way of thinking, this is the government we're still under. Because, like I said, they immediately go to this thing and say, we're the only real Cherokees, they're not. Declare us the real ones and make us U.S. citizens. And there's communication back and forth. But now the communication breaks down because this guy,
Nope.
and I don't think of this guy as a bad guy at all. He was doing his damnedest to keep that group alive. And I don't mean just in a political sense, I mean physically alive. And he was brilliant. He went to the Supreme Court and won. Nice. Didn't do him any good. It was like President Jackson said, well, Chief Justice so-and-so has made his decision, let him enforce it. And said, you Indians are out of here. And of course, Jackson gets a bad name. It was, any excuse to give a president a bad name. I don't know if he was a bad person or not. I know that he fought a war against the Creek Indians, a really nasty, violent, vicious war that the Americans were losing. As a general, he came down and asked these guys he grew up with, these Cherokees, will you help me? And they said, yeah, and defeated the Creeks in this war. So comes time of the removal, Jackson can't stop this one. And it started with this guy, who got the idea from these guys. And Jackson ain't got no hope in hell of stopping this, Supreme Court decision or not. He's not going to be able to stop this removal. And so we hear all these stories about the Trail of Tears, and I'm not saying there was nothing nice about it, but of all the tribes during the removal, the only tribe that got to move themselves was us. They did that first group, it went so bad. Ross went to Jackson and said, can we just do it ourselves? And Jackson said, well, you couldn't do a worse job, that's for sure. And so that move happened. Okay, they get here to the Indian Territory, and something terrible happened.